Hi, I'm Brendan Fehr.
And I'm Majandra Delfino. A decade or two ago,
Closer to 3, really.
a while back, we starred in the cult hit WB show Roswell.
And while we are in fact ex-co-stars, we are also actual exes. In real life.
Boyfriend and girlfriend exes.
Unnecessary clarification. But welcome to the X-Files, where we analyze all things Roswell. Episodes, co-stars, guest stars, and all the goings-on in front of the camera and behind the scenes.
In our probe, we may or may not agree, we may or may not get along, but if our history is any indication, we will most certainly dig up old stuff from the past and throw down. With guests, old and new, weighing in on who was right and who was wrong.
Oh, if we remember it, we're going to talk about it.
And if we don't remember, it's all good, because I kept my teenage diary to cross-reference, corroborate, confirm.
Wait, what?
Correct. So be prepared to pick a side.
Your actual diary, like, for real.
Having a change of heart?
More like a change of underwear.
Welcome
To the X-Files.
Happy New Year.
Oh, Happy New Year. Fuck it. Look,
Oh, boy.
oh boy. Do you ever wake up some days? I got like
That's it. That's the question. Some days, I do.
I got a face right now, like on my, like an actual face, if you're watching this, where I'm looking at myself and you kind of go, yeah, that's me, but not me.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been awake for hours. It's not a sleepy thing.
What's so crazy is that on my computer, it's totally pixelating your face. So it's like you wake up with pixelated face sometimes. Every actor's nightmare.
But do you ever look at yourself in the mirror sometimes and not like emotionally or spiritually, but like kind of physically not recognize yourself, just kind of go like get like a little like head to the side and go, who am I looking at?
Yeah.
Like when your face, because you've told me you've had this problem. I don't have it too much, but like when
I'm scared. What are you going to say? What are you going to expose?
When your iPhone doesn't recognize your
every
face.
morning. I'm like, you know what? Why don't you recognize morning face, little bitch? Like, you know how you can do different looks? You can do glasses and you can do, there's 2 looks you can give it so it knows. I
do not know this.
Yeah, if you do glasses, it'll do a glasses one.
Oh.
It's like, how about a third one? Morning face. You cunt. I hate my phone. I'm really not happy with it. It just did it to me this morning.
You truly know you've had a real bender the night before when it's just like...
But that's the thing.
You can't even get into your own phone.
Yeah. What's weird is it opens for Cecilia.
Like all the time?
Once in a while. We had a situation where we were flying on Lufthansa. Is that how we say it? Lufthansa? Listen,
Lufthansa, isn't it? Oh, no, you're doing the TH real. Yeah.
I don't know. I have no idea.
Lufthansa? Is there a Luf in there first?
Listen,
I don't know.
To correct me and not actually know. What a move.
I know, right?
But she went ahead of me and it scanned her face and it was like, Majandra, boarded. Like it boarded her as me. And then I go on and it's not like Cecilia. It's like,
you old
they're
head.
already on the flight. Yeah, they're like, David. Like they think of
right.
It was
totally.
but it did my face, and then it said already boarded, and the thing like went red because it's all just scan, and then a person had to come over, and I was like, that's not me, and she was so delighted.
Cecilia.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
I know. She's at that age where she loves when people tell us we look alike. I don't tell her that when I was her age, I was not that cute.
Right.
Like, you look like me now, but not then.
Yeah, you're doing, yeah.
Yeah.
You're on an upward trajectory.
Yeah. Yeah, you have a lot to say about that. There's a lot that people don't know behind the scenes of this podcast where Brendan will remind me that I'm finally gotten decent looking versus before. Would you care to comment, Brendan?
I
just drop that.
Decent look here. Listen, clearly I thought
Passable, he says.
you had something going on back in the day. What the fuck it was, I don't know, but
Just me and that magic helmet.
totally.
I had nothing.
What was magical?
Yeah.
Speaking of kids, I got a ticket in the mail.
Oh. Uh-oh.
From one of those
Cameras.
whatever cameras. And it was in my car, and it is a route that I drive for work sometimes, and for other stuff. And I was just like, 8 p.m. though. I was like, I don't know what time it was, but it was like later at night, and I was like, I don't know why I would ever be out there at that hour.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I guess. And so I went to pay it online today, and they have like all the video and the camera like that you can watch from it.
Mm-hmm.
And it was my daughter driving, and I was like, so I was like, I'm not going crazy. I wasn't there at that hour because I was like, what the fuck would I be doing out there at 8 p.m. But yeah, we paid the ticket anyways.
Did you spank her? Did you hit her with the belt? Smack her across the face? What happens in the Fehr household when someone does that?
No, I paid the ticket. I did it. And then but I know where it's at, and I know like the road, and yeah, everyone travels a million miles, but I haven't seen her since.
Oh,
I discovered
she's
this.
run away.
I just discovered this today.
Oh, okay.
So I haven't seen her since, but I gotta be like, dude, come on. Like, I'm all for driving aggressively and all that stuff, but now there's just
but that's
that
how you learn.
technology. Yeah,
you just learn
exactly. But the thing was, like, this doesn't go on your points. It doesn't go on your license or your insurance. Like, it's not, I want to say revealed to them. That sounds weird though. It's not sent to them. It doesn't affect that. It's just like a fine, and then you pay it and you're good to go. But if she got stopped by a cop, then it would. And then all of a sudden, when you just got your license and you start getting tickets, you're gonna fuck yourself over because you're gonna insurance and everything else. Anyways.
Yeah, I know.
I'm
always like with my kids, I'm like, when are you guys gonna fucking start driving? You know how sometimes you just are like, can you drive so I can put on my makeup or whatever?
Yeah.
I forget. It's a 12 and an 11-year-old.
You got a ways to go.
It's just the size confuses me,
Yeah,
so he's taller than me. So it's like, get behind the wheel, you bitch. But it's just, so she's so far off from that.
I was gonna ask how, like, golf carts, dune,
a lot of golf cart work. So thank God.
Yeah, so she does have the ability. Like, it's a little different, but just steering and the pedal and the brake and the foot work, you know,
it's very important.
Yeah, so she's she gets that.
Yeah, and now I'm gonna tell another unrelatable story.
Let's listen. It's our brand is chaos. Let's go.
When I was 8, so that means my sister was 11 and a half. She always liked to tack on that half year.
3.5?
Yeah, she's 3.5 years older, and she'd always be like 3.5.
Oh,
3.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because you're 3.5 years older than me. You guys are both born in 1977. She's born in September. You're October. Your social security number is just give up all the info. But anyway, so when I was 8, my dad, I have this for people that don't know, my father that lives in Venezuela, he's very fun, breaks the rules, tough person to be divorced. You've never met him.
Enrique,
we'll post a picture of him.
I have to before, knock on wood, but before he passes.
Oh, yeah, no, he's young.
This man.
He's young like my mom. They're both like a year apart. He race car driver, huge equestrian, the man.
Huge. I was like,
huge, of course. I mean, great big hands. And he's just like one of those dream people. You'd be like, Dad, you'd be like, what do you want for Christmas? You'd be like, I want a dolphin. I'm not kidding you. And he was like, okay, I'll look into it. Like a crazy guy. But anyway, he didn't do the dolphin because he literally was like, you could fence it off. I mean, just one of these like big dreamer type guys. So this is what we're dealing with. At my sister 11 and a half Christmas, he buys her, or whatever, he buys her, and therefore me, a golf cart. Doesn't ask, is this allowed in the neighborhood? Doesn't ask my parents. It just shows up at our house. Listen.
Fucking so good.
Just these crazy Latin Americans. In Miami, like anything goes, you know?
Sorry.
No, and I was just going to say, that was a game changer as far as driving. By the time...
Oh, yeah.
And then also, just to put a cap on a little button, he bought me a car, my first car, when I was 15. I don't have a license. Nothing. He doesn't care.
What did he buy you?
Oh, Brendan.
Oh, fuck.
Brendan.
What did you get? Because
that is a step too far.
No,
We're gonna lose
because I got
audience.
when I turned 16, my dad
That's my boob
bought us
falls
all
out.
cars.
Oh.
Every time we turned 16,
Every time I tell these stories, you one-up me with even more lavish gifts.
No. Quiet.
No, not
you
that
don't
I care
know.
that you're one-upping
you
me.
be quiet.
What I'm saying is I didn't realize you were secretly so wealthy, Brendan.
No, we got like a $3,000 car for my dad. Well, he didn't pay child support. Right? Like there were
So sorry.
They were divorced. So like he
Great.
made up for it in different ways. And so when each of us turned 16, we got a car. And I think my oldest sister, who's like 8 years older than me, I think she got a VW Rabbit.
Oh, that's so cute.
And my youngest, not my youngest, it's like still, she's my older sister, but she's the middle child.
Right.
She's only 2 years, Shan. I believe she got a baby blue, like, Mustang.
Ooh.
That didn't really work. And I got an 84 Dodge Colt.
Oh.
Standard.
Old Colt.
So
Fehr
you're looking
over
at like $2,500 max.
yeah.
But that was his thing. And now they're actually they bought for all the grandkids. And now that James is driving, they're like, we're gonna do the same for, you know, I have older nieces and nephews. We're going to do the same for you as for James and your kids as we did. And so they pitch in, you know, $2,000 and it's like towards their, you know, shitty little first car for $4,000, which is amazing.
Nice. Yeah.
Wait, so back to you though. You're not off the hook, fucker.
What did you? Similar.
You got a Mercedes, didn't you?
Okay, listen.
Holy shit.
My father is an engineer. He takes apart motorcycles, cars, puts them back together. Now, has he ever had a job? No.
And does he sell dolphins on the black market? Maybe.
No, the man is... Anyway, he was obsessed with German
BMW, the Bavarians.
No, it was a Mercedes sedan. Brand new, Brendan. I'm talking, he took me to the dealership and I got to pick out the color, the interior, the this, the that. The man is crazy. What can I say? I'm so happy that that's who my father was. I had a wonderful stepfather and a wonderful father, but it did not make me relatable. Although no one really batted an eye because it was kind of like a granny car. I picked like a real granny one. And so I think they
you're not kidding.
No, meaning I think they just thought I was like borrowing my parents' car. Kids at school.
But you still got a brand new.
And Brendan, I'm rolling up, first of all. Then he gives me this car. It shows up, right? And my mother and stepfather, who I live with, they don't tell me, no, you can't drive this. You don't have a license. You're 15. They let me drive this car. They let me drive myself to and from school and to friends' houses at 15.
I remember.
Is this over? Is our friendship over?
Long ago. This is pure business. Oh.
Is the business over?
I remember when we were
Uh-oh.
But it was in the Roswell days, obviously. We were
Oh,
dating
God.
or not dating or whatever else. I think we were dating at this point. Oh, who knows whether we were on or off. But
Oh, boy.
you guys were a big Mercedes-Benz family.
Listen, I want people to understand, okay? I have a stepfather. His name is Leopoldo. He has a thick Venezuelan, beautiful accent. We are a Latin family, okay? There's something funny about that.
Okay.
That's the spin I'm trying to.
Sure. Listen.
We're there representing
You guys were,
Latins.
you guys were, and you know,
also,
you're well off. But that's okay.
and not via selling drugs or
No
waste
one ever
management.
mentioned that.
That's always what people would ask. In LA only,
no
of
one
course.
ever, no one ever even can.
Oh, always, Brendan, till this day. In LA, people be like, oh,
The
like that.
drug
And I'm
of
like,
manipulation. Anyway,
what?
I don't know.
You
Let's
know,
move on.
a couple times on here, you're like, she's gaslighting me. And then now this manipulation thing, I wonder if you don't even know what gaslighting means. Brent, look it up. I'll be telling you something super direct, like, you're annoying. And you're like, she's gaslighting me. And it's like, that's kind of the opposite. It's just full blunt.
Don't tell me
This is
what
my
to
problem.
do. Don't tell me what to do and how I define words for myself.
Yeah.
Anyways,
manipulation.
no, I do remember because my buddy, okay, we're way off the rails here, but we're just going to go with it. My buddy, you know, Greg Pauls, right? So I was
going to say biblically. Oh.
No, not biblically.
Oof. Yeah. Confused.
So we got like, you know, my there was a car that my best friend Brian got. It was we called it, so it was a Plymouth Horizon, I believe. Gold. We called it the Ho. Well, because the Horizon, like Horizon, like it was,
okay.
it wasn't anything. It was just like the Ho. Like we actually didn't. It wasn't being referred to as like a girl or an actual hoe. It was just a short version of Horizon.
Yeah.
Like let's, you know, we're gonna take the hoe. And this thing was a tank. It lasted through all his brothers and all this stuff. It was one of a real childhood memory. And, you know, so he had the hoe. I had an 84 Dodge Colt, standard gray. Greg was older than us because he had, I think I think he failed a grade or was held back for a year. Wow. He's doing very well now. So, you know, nothing, but he had, I don't know if a Dodge Neon was his first, or maybe it was this one. He had a Festiva. He had a Ford Festiva, not the Fiesta. The Festiva, and then he had a Dodge Neon. But I remember we had to go pick it up. He found this BMW. And like, there's no world in Canada in of like Mercedes, BMWs, any of this kind of thing. And he found a used BMW, Bavarian Motorworks, and it was red. And he bought it thinking like, I got a BMW at the age of 19, which is incredible in Canada. The heat never turned off. It was impossible. You could bake cookies in this fucking car. Ever. Summertime. That was it.
I was just gonna say, it gets really warm there in the
summer.
in
Winnipeg? You can get to 100 degrees.
I know.
Never turned off. It was the biggest mistake. We loved it because like that was lavish for us, like a BMW. And then, but anyways, going back to you, the BMW. I was told while we were, you know, dating or whatnot, that BMWs were
cheesy.
Yeah, cheesy. They weren't for the, you know, that's not what you buy. You buy a Mercedes if you're going to go that route. And I was just like, what? I was like, BMWs are classic. And now, to be perfectly honest, though, looking and knowing and understanding cars a little bit more, it's actually fucking right on point.
Especially then. So what was interesting, and I'm so sorry to make this into a Mercedes podcast.
We're trying to get sponsors, people.
I know.
Mercedes,
Please.
Wave Runners from last episode.
Sea-Doo and
a
Mercedes.
Sea-Doo, Mercedes, and
That'd be
then
amazing.
Dodge Colts. Let's bring them back.
We relive our childhood from these sponsorships. Mercedes back in the day was made in it was made in Germany. They were really great. They were tanks.
Yeah.
During my era. And then my sister later got the M class, the like SUV.
Okay.
It was made, I think, in China, maybe the US. I don't know. It was really junky. And it was like, oh, interesting. They're starting to branch out and make these cheaper things.
Mm-hmm.
And so for a while, and still, you have to kind of figure out which model is going to be the one that's like the tank, the well-made German auto engineering, or the cheapy cheap.
Okay. So let's get you back to people liking you.
Listen, I don't know what to say. You have all the money in the world. You Right now,
have your choice of whatever you want.
I can't make myself likable. I'm like, I do have all the money in the world. By the way, not true.
You can buy anything you want. My kids ask me this all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and there's two things. Okay, do we go with family, like the car you need to drive your family around in, or you have whatever else, or you're just single on your own, and it could be the same car, but someone might like, I want a 2-seater, whatever else is my like dream car, and it's like, okay, you had all the money in the world right now, brand new or even old, what would you buy?
So am I allowed to alter this car, or does it have to just show up like that?
No, I think any dream car.
Okay, dream car is an El Camino, like an 80s El Camino, but working really like just a pimp engine.
Right.
But the whole my dream is a car that on the outside looks like a really normal, or in this case, I love the profile of an El Camino. No, but meaning, let's just say my car right now, which is a Jeep Wrangler, very beat up one. I love that it just looks like this nondescript car. There's nothing, but I would love a car that on the inside is like really teched out.
Okay.
But you're not, techie.
But El Camino.
Cutesy. I love an El Camino. That's one of those where it's like, I can't believe I never was able to pull that off, because when I lived with my parents and they paid for things, they insisted that things be a Mercedes. They really felt I was going to die unless I was in a Mercedes.
Yeah.
It truly was like a death thing.
Yeah, Volvo or Volvo, no.
Isn't that crazy? They were like,
Okay, yeah.
But then the minute I was no longer...
Why couldn't I say Volvo?
Because you want to say Volvo.
It was... I actually tried to correct myself even, and I was like, that still doesn't work. I'm just going to let her go.
You're like, Volvo. But yeah, so the minute I left their home, I got a Prius. I tried all these different cars, and it's just tough. It's just so...
Did you care about cars, though?
I love cars. I love driving.
You do love...
I
like driving, too, but I can drive. But it's the driving. It's not the car.
Well, it depends. Because, look, again, I'm going to go back to being hated, but driving like a nice... So my father, full disclosure, was a race car driver for my youth, just for fun. But he was very good. So he's very into fast cars and the whole thing. So we were exposed a ton to very fast vehicles. And you get in like a Porsche that's meant for that. There's no better feeling. Yeah. But you have to pull up in a Porsche to places, which is not... I have a huge dick, so I don't need that,
Right. No, I've seen it.
You truly just... you like left your body for a second.
It was part of the reason we were on and off again.
You were trying to sort of wrap your brain around that.
I was threatened by it.
But yeah, so I find that to be so embarrassing. The status, obviously, growing up like that, where your parents are forcing you to drive.
Well, there's fun cars to drive. Which, like, yeah, give me a Porsche, give me like all those little zippy cars. But then there's a practicality. It's a tough question because there's a number of different, like mine, like my practical everyday would be happy with whatever else. Like if I had all the money in the world, I'd probably buy a Dodge Ram.
Right.
Like that's, I got a truck and it's, you can get them big enough to fit people in and they're smooth and they're nice and they're great and they look good and you could, I'd probably raise it maybe 6 inches. Like not a lot.
Yeah.
Like
I would
just for bigger tires so they don't rub on the rims, but not anything where you're looking like at the undercarriage.
Yeah, like I love a Ford F-150.
Yeah. But
that's for a certain day. I would say that would work the best for me right now, but it would be so nice to be able to like hop in a car that is just a car.
And and mine would be it's the Lincoln Continental. It's like that took a long time to spit out.
The Lincoln Continental.
I wanted all the ends. Continental.
Yeah. Lincoln.
It would be a Lincoln Continental. I'm not going to do it again. Like a 70. My dad had this big black Lincoln Continental.
Like,
No, I'm very insecure right now. With red velour interior.
Brilliant.
And I remember he had a CD changer in there, and it was when Garth Brooks was hot, and I'd blast Garth Brooks. And what's funny is he, it's a battleship. It's so long, and it's so smooth, and it was so great. But what my dad did, which is hilarious, is there's a switch, like a bat switch, like the Batmobile, like on the bottom. I shouldn't do this, but that you would flick. And
I'm leaving.
He put a propane tank in the back, and he hooked it up to the engine, so the whole car ran on propane.
Wow. I also like that you say propane.
Oh, what is it? Propane?
Well, no, I don't know. English is my second language, so who am I to say? But
American's my second language.
I thought it was propane.
Propane.
And you're like, propane.
Propane.
Don't change, Brendan.
So it would run on pee-pee pain.
Propane.
It would run on propane, and then when it ran out of propane, you would just flick the switch and it went to gas.
Okay.
And then you would just go, and then you could run on that, and then you would go, and when you're at the gas station, you would fill up with both gas and propane. You've really fucked me up. And then and it was the most genius thing. I don't know if it was legal, but it was awesome. And it was the Lincoln Continental 78-ish. I don't know. I got to look it up. I know what it was, but it was like the Mach something, and that's really kind of my dream car because I could fit everyone in there.
Right.
And it was just so fun to drive. I should have been embarrassed by it.
Right.
But no way.
I know that's what's so tricky is that a lot of these cars that drive in a very special way could be embarrassing. But that's a cool car. I mean, sorry.
Yeah.
That's cool status.
I mean, it is a little bit of a
like if a guy pulled up in that,
who's getting out of it is a little bit of a dick move too. Like it's not Porsche dick. It's just like, who's this fucking loser that
it's like this. Look at this guy really marches to his own. No, I mean, yeah, a BMW, an Audi makes me so uncomfortable.
I would drive it, but it feels like too expensive to fix.
But that's the thing. We're talking even with all the money in the world. I just am embarrassed.
All the money in the world. Yeah, I'd probably get like. Listen, I got a Toyota Corolla right now, and you know what? It's great. It's fucking great. It doesn't cause me any problems.
Buy another Jeep. I will say, and again, I'm really taking a step back here.
Oh, geez.
How do I put this?
I'm trying to help you. Usually it's me costing myself
how's
friendships and people and jobs. And here you are.
During this eat the rich culture that we're in, this is tough. No, I have driven a Tesla Model X that had the ludicrous mode option. Do you know about this?
I hate this. I hate Elon Musk.
I know.
I hate him.
And that's why it's like,
I'm
that's
not saying
the problem.
that he can't
But I
produce a
will
good
say,
but
I
would never.
meet
Anyways,
the real people.
What is the
so
ludicrous?
he bought the rights to say that he founded Tesla, but it's actually these two other guys.
Yeah,
anyway.
yeah. He never even created the whole fucking thing, which is like, the wildest thing.
Exactly. So remove him from the equation. Let's just talk about the actual people that did.
Okay.
They did a great job. Ludicrous mode is where you can put your car in ludicrous mode. It's literally, that's what it's called.
Like Chris Ludicrous or just ludicrous?
Ludicrous, like, oh my God, this is ludicrous.
Okay. So it's not like okay.
No, which is complicated now that Ludacris is like doing these State Farm ads. He's kind of top of mind. But is it State Farm? Anyway, ludicrous mode is where you go into like full race car driver mode in the car. This was, I got to drive this car for like a week and I couldn't believe it, Brendan. I mean, that was right up my alley, where it's an SUV, it's totally normal, like blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden you can press a button and rip. So it's like, how do you marry that with a car that isn't embarrassing?
Well, this was a podcast for the people, by the people.
That is called a Cybertruck.
But
can you imagine?
All of a sudden, we've lost everyone. Okay.
I mean, listen, you ask a question. So I see you set the question up to be like, look at me, I'm such a good guy. I would never buy a $100,000 car. But I just would never buy an Audi.
Okay.
Neither would I.
No, it's good. I like it. Fucking wait
and
for Christmas.
The minute I was an adult and not living with my parents, I have never once owned a Mercedes or a BMW.
Yeah.
Have you?
The cars just don't do it. I don't think they do it for either of us. Like, I don't think we're... I mean,
No,
I know you're a car person. They do it for you. They don't do it for me. Okay? They don't do it for me.
Oh, it's so exciting to get in a car that can rip.
I remember back in the day, I think I was on Roswell. And I went to visit my sister in Palm Springs because her ex-husband was a pro golfer. And he was out there and he caddied and he had a benefactor and all that stuff. And we went out there. And one night, he would go out there for, the summertime. He just goes like, hey, I'm going to go park cars. I'm going to go valet for this bar tonight. Like, do you want to come? Because I was staying with him. And I was like, yeah, we just valet cars and we earn tips. And he was just like, yeah, so it's Palm Springs. And it was this, so we show up, we get the talking to by the boss, like all the tips go in the jar. We split them at the end of the night. And we're just like, I don't trust any of you fucks. And so we would, all the tips we made, we just like put half of it in our socks and we put half in the tip jar. Cause I usually like to be a little bit more, like I like to be honest to the point of taking advantage of, to the point of being taken advantage of, and just let them kind of play their game. But I was like, I don't trust any of these people like opposite me that this is what they do. But anyways, it was this bar that it was a nightclub. It was a lesbian night there. Not that it really matters, but it was fun. It was just an interesting like a whole vibe, right? Like the whole thing. And we parked cars for the entire night, and it's Palm Springs, and there was a lot of people that had money there, and I got to just park all kinds of cars, from Cadillacs to Lexus to this to that to like Mercedes, BMWs, all the cars, and it was just so fun. Like I was like test driving them to be like, okay, what is the most comfortable car? What rides the smoothest and all that. Anyways, that's not even a great story. Should we get to the episode? Or what do you want to say?
I was going to say, I love a car that has like a pickup, I just want to be able to gun it.
I remember we were in Sun Valley, Idaho. Well, there's two things. We were in
be another story that makes me unrelatable. Go ahead.
Yeah. Doesn't? All right, hold on. We got someone coming on.
Oh.
We'll skip that. We'll ask this guy what his favorite car is.
Yay!
How's it going, guys?
Look
so
at this
exciting.
fucking face.
Hello.
You guys look nice. How you doing?
You look great,
Yeah, you
Katie.
look great, Jason.
No,
funny
the
that
name
it's
says
Katie on
Katie.
So, Jason, we usually ask people, did you watch?
I did. I have. This is the first time I've seen it in, what is it, 25 years now? I mean, it was kind of crazy. I mean, to watch that.
Now you have. I'm going to interrupt quickly. You have the best memory of any of us.
No pressure.
Like crazily. No, but what I want to ask is, and you can go on whatever tangent you want or whatever, but was there anything when you rewatched it recently that you went, I didn't remember? Like that surprised you?
Gosh.
Oh, by the way, we're doing Max to the
Max.
Max. We didn't announce that in anything.
What that I didn't remember. I don't think so. You guys can quiz me on it for sure if you want to. But
we're the last people.
No,
I didn't realize that was a different Max till like
the episode was really important for me because I had never been able to do that kind of stuff before, to like, play such a dual role. And the thing about Ortlieb was I didn't know his body of work at all. Magnolia had not come out yet, so I didn't know him at all. All I could take from him was my interactions with him, which were minute. And they let me see the dailies. They would give me the dailies that he was doing, so I could kind of, incorporate his speech pattern, certain looks that he had, and that was.
Yeah, because David Conrad had to do that as well. Later on, or earlier on, we don't care about timelines. But in some of the episodes, it was later on because obviously this is the introduction of Conrad.
Which, by the way, when he first showed up, I don't know about you guys, but he had these very like John Hamm meets Jake Gyllenhaal and Shea Wiggum had a baby. Like if they all got together and they'd have David. Shea Wiggum, he was in True Detective. He's a great actor. He's a lot of character work, but.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I thought.
David
are you
Conrad,
talking about David Conrad? Yeah, he was really good. Really good. He was good in this. He was really good. Fantastic. I mean, Jim Ortlieb was great. He was a real character, and and Conrad was good. And we had mentioned in an earlier podcast we did how when Conrad had to kind of take on that persona, you could go a little over the top with it because Jim is a little eccentric without being eccentric. Like it's not put on, but like it's this natural kind of thing that comes from him. And then to try to mimic that, you could get in trouble. Yeah. And Conrad was just like, he did a really good job, which we had mentioned. And so, so
mine was that because the scenes were all with Liz, there were certain things, because Patrick North directed this episode, the genius that he is. And so, like playing off of, like, for instance, there's that line when Max says to her, or Naceto says to her as Max, well, now you know. He casually goes in the trunk and grabs the FBI agent and then like throws him to the side of the road. And then it just casually throws him.
I love too the little peek out that you did. But
it's almost so like she could have missed it. Like you're trying to hide it from her. Like, get rid of this body before she goes, but you didn't care if she saw it.
Yeah.
It was almost like, are they going to try and hide this fucking man throwing a body out of a trunk that a woman doesn't know?
Yeah. And then the line right after that was, I say to her, well, now you know. And I was having discussions with Norris specifically about that because I thought, well, does he want to say it like Jim, which is like, oh, now you know, like in a sort of like a higher sort of jovial sort of like, fuck you. And he's like, no, man, you got to say it to her like Max. Like, just say it to her like Max. Just stare at her and just like really fuck with her. And so it was that kind of like playfulness that I was able to have. Or like when you see Naceto as Max come through the doors of the crash down for the very first time, and he's got like that sort of confident step to him when he goes and grabs Liz in the back of the crash down. Yeah.
Yeah, like we got to go.
Yeah,
Don't tell
there's just
anyone. You can't
like
tell
I was
Maria.
able to sort of play around with
Yeah.
like how he moves differently than how Max moves. And it really kind of culminated at the end of the show in the House of Mirrors, where you see the two of them like right after each other, trying to just have subtle differences between Max and how Macedo Max moves or even looks at people. But it was a lot of fun. What I really, the very first thing that I thought of when I started the episode was, God, we're starting off like at a high pitch. Like it was like the stakes are already really high from the very jump of the episode. And what I had to remember
Right.
was,
Yeah.
you know, a lot of the episodes in the first season were two-parters. And especially towards the end of the seasons for us, we would do like these cliffhangers and then start up the next episode pretty high. So I went back and I watched a little bit of Foursquare and like just to see how it, yeah, okay.
We haven't done that yet.
I won't talk about it.
We haven't done that yet.
We don't
can't
talk about
it. We know nothing about it.
We can't talk about it because we don't.
We
know
won't talk about Bruno.
anything.
We have
We're like,
me and Majandra
we
have
don't
no
talk about
recollection
Bruno.
of Foursquare. We're out. No.
Prank call.
But it was really helpful for me to like understand,
No, go
okay,
ahead.
this is what happened right beforehand. And the jumping off point was, this is what the 20th episode in season one. And you know, this,
Yep.
yeah, it
It's
really
really
is.
a three-parter, by the way.
What'd you guys think of it?
Well, I mean, I had so many thoughts. First of all, I just loved horned up Liz. You know, she was really just chomping at the bit. I just don't remember her having that gear, but I was happy to see it. And I couldn't. I'm still like now. I'm like a broken record about this to everyone, including my own family. But Emily
Oh,
was
yeah.
so adorable. My goodness, I can't believe I wasn't just like squeezing her face all day. And I kind of did. She was.
She
but I
looked a
should have
little
done
like
it more.
Faye Dunaway, and then the princess from Neverending Story, kind of so sweet.
Yes, just those peaches and cream complexion, and and that's what's so funny. She is so sweet, and it's just
Yeah.
it emanates. Even as Tess, you know, you're like, oh, I get it. This is why
Mhm.
she was Tess, because you're like, can't help
Oh,
it.
that
I like
scene
her.
with her and Jim,
You
like
know?
where in the very beginning, where he was like, "Go ahead and go with your family," and she like gives him this look, like, "I will," like, "Fuck you," and I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
You've never been my family when they do that
Yeah.
whole.
she was
Yeah,
wonderful.
she was great.
I didn't realize watching this back, and the one before
Foursquare.
this is Foursquare, like you said, and then we have Test Lies and Videotape, and we
Yeah,
have
that all builds
Crazy,
up
we
to
have
this.
Sexual Healing, Independence Day, which we haven't done yet. I didn't realize how sci-fi I went, oh, like first season we're pretty deep in the sci-fi aspect, because my recollection of this show, and I'm probably wrong, but I think it's probably skewed because of how well we all got along. We had so much fun together, even though we were in maybe different places in our lives, and different people are dating different people, and but for the most part, set was fun. I don't know why anyone would not say this was a memory to look back on and kind of go like, this was a good fucking time. And so I always view this show as a very relationship show. And maybe that's skewed by me dating Majandra and dealing with that relationship. And maybe it's
When I
like
dated
you
Dick.
and Nick and Kate, it's just getting along with everyone and being a Katem show, which
Right.
he really, which that is his bread
That's where
and
he
butter.
shines.
And obviously I know it's an alien sci-fi show, but I didn't realize we had started gearing up, just toward the end of the season, but gearing up in that sci-fi narrative. What's your opinion? What is your memory of, it was always sci-fi, but it was always,
Were you
I
taken
thought-
aback ever, Jason, by moments of like, oh, this is a different level of sci-fi than I imagined. This is more intricate, or this is more
Well, I definitely,
pronounced.
so I was definitely aware of how it took more of a science fiction turn when Tess entered the sort of sphere. Like everything up until that point was,
yeah,
the background story was all of us trying to figure out who we were and where we came from, and our place in the world and all that kind of stuff, all the metaphors for teen alienation and that time of one's life. But it felt like we were getting to know the characters as people that we could relate to and see ourselves in. And so with those relationships, you build those things up. And then I felt like from crazy test lives and videotape, Foursquare, Max to the Max, White Room, and then Destiny, that whole trajectory was, okay, now we're getting a lot of information now. All this stuff we've been looking for, all the stuff, the whole Atherton and the Dome and the 285 South and the River Dog, we're now getting information. And it did feel accelerated, but it also felt like the reason why you'd care about these people is because you've already gotten to know them for, whatever it is, like 17, 18, 19 episodes and in their interrelationships. And then when it got to, when Tess entered the building, things just really took off. We started getting all this information, like in the beginning of Max and Max, previously in the episode before, I confronted her about, I thought she was Nasedo. Like, I was like, you're the fucking killer. Like, show yourself, show your face. And then there's this sort of like this knowing that we all had, like all the aliens had this knowing of like, there's another life, there's another existence, that we're programmed, designed to be something else. And so there was all this knowing, because when we take off that mountain to go find where the pods are and where the granolith, eventually is, it just felt like if I didn't, the granolith, didn't see the sweeper.
Granolith.
Where the granolith is.
We all know we were all there.
Hey, what did you do to my granolith?
What are you doing to my granolith?
So yeah, so like just that it felt a little more sci-fi than I remember the first season to be, but it made sense to me because they were trying to bring in this other aspect of it with Tess coming into the building. Because I wasn't expecting Tess at all. I honestly,
it's
like
true.
with Liz and Max being that sort of like that relationship. I was not expecting that at all, and I felt I was like, oh, okay, we're going in this direction.
It's so funny because I remember when she was cast and when we were told there's a test coming and the whole thing, it sent such ripples of interest, insecurity, so many things of just, it was a shakeup in a sense, which just goes to show, I mean, at least it was for some of us, I don't know, but it just goes to show the immaturity of just not realizing, they're going to add cast members here and there. It doesn't mean you're getting fired.
I don't want to give, like, hopefully Emily will do the show, no pressure, but eventually. But I remember, and I'll tell the same story then if she does. I remember when she was brought on, my thought was like, fuck this. No. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't have a good reaction to that choice. It had nothing to do with Emily. It could have been anyone, but like, I remember just me going like, And what's funny is usually, especially back then, Jay, as you know, I kind of said, and Majandra knows, I couldn't really hide any of the things I was feeling. I kind of just said them out loud. And so when I approached Emily on social media about, cons and just reaching out in kind of general about whatever stuff, saying,
Dick
hey
pics.
there, hi. I was just like, what is dick pics? Never responds to those though.
But she loves the eggplant emoji.
But
We're like,
I remember,
Brendan.
I remember when when we did our first con together and we got together and I saw her for the first time with a kid, and it was so great. And she looked at me, she goes, you guys treated me so well on that show. Like, you were so lovely. Like, to me, not to me specifically, like I was the most lovely, but no, everyone. But she said, like, you specifically to me were lovely as well. And I just remember going, are you drunk? Because I was actually I was
Mm.
ready to make an apology to her, going like, sorry, I didn't treat you so well, ignored you, whatever else, because I don't know. I'm curious, I have my version of it and she's got hers, and it's again probably somewhere in the middle, but I just remember not liking that. And back then
You
it
worried that
wasn't
was
it wasn't in my
transferring.
capacity to kind of
Mhm.
not make that a little bit known.
I think though, because
But she was so lovely.
she was so lovely, and also I really, in general, I always loved when a cool person would come. It's like that's all I want. You just want to be around cool people. I would
Yeah.
try to be friends with everybody, unless they were a total dick or some, conniving whatever. Of course, you're going to welcome someone with open arms, and I really felt like a
Yeah.
protection of Emily. Remember, I loaned her a car for a season
Yeah.
and all
Yeah.
that stuff. I think maybe that's why, is that she was so my whole family was also very Emily. We'd take her, we really sort of made her a
Well, I can't
Delfino
imagine what it was like
Hellman.
for her to come here all halfway across the planet, and she's pretty young, and to be away from that support system, coming into a show that was well on its way, and we had all formed our own sort of relationships to each other, and we were pretty thick as thieves back then. Uh, to have her come into that must have been really daunting. And I know that we all tried to make a concerted effort to
Yeah,
bring her along. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, because
I
she
don't
was
know if I did.
in. Well, that's what I was just gonna say. Is I think just by
But she says I
being.
did, which is very kind of her.
But you're gonna be around her if you're gonna be around me. You know what I mean? So I think you must have.
Well, what's funny is looking back on these episodes, like where I'm breaking rocks with her and she's teaching me the powers. I forget what episode that was already. We've already done a
That
podcast
was
of it, but
yeah, when you were breaking rocks, that was
Jason
the very
knows.
first, it was Skin and Bones.
Yeah,
Yes,
Skin and Bones.
it was Skin and Bones.
So
Season 2,
season 1.
episode 1.
Or season 2, episode 1. Yeah. So, but I have more, I look at rewatching these episodes going, I got a lot of scenes,
Yeah.
a lot of interaction with her. And I was like, I didn't remember any of that. It's
Exactly.
really interesting. And I think that's probably where it came, where she has maybe a more pleasant view of me than I possibly remember, because in my head I'm just going, we're off track. We've added a new character. I just like the people I want. I'm trying to protect my family, right? You have this kind of, I viewed it as outsiders instead of collaborators.
But
back
you were
then.
really sweet to her. I remember. You were.
And then, but yeah, having as many scenes as I had with her, which I didn't remember. It was all to make the show better for me. It really was. I wanted to do the best job I could. I wanted to make it the best show I could. And so that's probably where I got an opportunity, because if we probably sat beside each other, at lunchtime or this, or when we're all kind of hanging out, I probably would have been more distant. But with all these scenes that I have with her, not a lot, but more than I remember, I think I probably, with that one-on-one, getting to know the person, having a conversation about the scene, collaborating about it, I think it's probably more her memory than
Do you
what was,
guys remember
going
shooting
through
this
my head.
episode?
No.
I
don't
do.
really.
I actually have a picture. I have a picture
Oh,
with
really?
Sherry on that merry-go-round. Yeah, I have an old classic film. I'm gonna try and find it, but I do believe I still have it. But I remember, but I don't remember where it was. But I remember
With the
that
one
set.
up, the set
Do you
on Paramount, or the set off in the Agua Dulce? Yeah,
The
that was
amusement park.
all in Agua Dulce, out near the airport in that area. But then we had
Yeah.
the House of Mirrors was on Paramount.
Yes.
Yeah,
Which was a great
yeah, that
scene.
was. Go ahead. Sorry.
When
Why do you
Because
laugh?
when you would ask me to do this, and I think the first offer was White Room, and I thought I don't really have a lot of good.
We didn't offer you anything. We told you
Well,
you get whatever the fuck you wanted.
Suggested.
Don't do that to us.
Right. When we
This is
suggested,
this is prime time,
Suggested
Jason.
possibly White Room, and I thought I don't have any really good stories about that one, but this one I remember a lot of stories about because it was so much fun for me. And the House of Mirrors one was great for a lot of different reasons, but one of them was that they, the design of the shot was very confusing, and everything's supposed to be, you don't know where everything's like this illusion. And they cleaned the glass a lot to kind of keep that going. And the scene where where Max sees Liz and then runs to her, we had walked through it in rehearsal, and in the very first take, we're doing the thing, and looking around, and it's hard to see because it's really black in there. And I see Sherry, and I ran to her, and I had misjudged just a little bit, and just ran straight into the glass, like full face in the glass. I mean, like, I thought for sure I had knocked a tooth out or Picasso'd my nose. I thought something had happened, but thank goodness it wasn't like that. I mean, I took it a lot slower after that, but I hit my head a lot on this show. Just sort of,
just creeps
feels
up
it
on
out,
the glass.
and then
yeah.
Just
you
there.
start to
I hit
apply
my
that
head.
to every scene.
Norris is like, can you not do
This thing
Jay,
with the
on it?
baby
'Cause this
steps is not
really
working for
distracting."
us.
Hey, Jay. Yeah, Max isn't in the House of Mirrors anymore. Can you stop putting your
This is a
hand
character
up?
choice from here on forward.
That's
Like
when they
season 3,
decided
I'm
to
like,
give you powers. Yeah. Yeah, they're like, just have a...
slowly like degenerative eye disease. Like,
well, like you in the
just
balance
like-
with the white contacts, right? But yeah, so
yeah.
that was the first time I smacked my face on that thing. And then the next time when all the FBI guys kind of like grabbed Max, I remember saying, I remember
and
saying to the
slammed you
fellas, I
up
was like,
against
all
the
right,
glass.
so don't hold back. Like, fucking sell it. Like, make it real. I mean, have you guys seen Mystic River? Did you see Sean Penn with all those cops? Sell it. I was like really giving them the go for. And they almost put me through the glass. The very first take, he slammed me up against it, and I just turned my head just in time.
Contagion.
Is it Enter the Dragon, Jay?
Yeah.
Bruce
Yes,
Lee?
it is.
What's
It's
the mirror?
Game of Death or Enter the Dragon? No, Enter the Dragon, I believe. Yeah, where he's in the mirrors with all the... Yes, it felt very much like that. Yeah,
Right?
for sure.
And were you thinking that at the time?
For
like,
sure.
Did you
that
have
was
a reference
that
for
was
this?
definitely one of them.
Yeah.
And then, well, for me also, because it was like that subtle thing of like, who's Max, who's Naceto Max? Like, there's a certain look in Naceto Max's eye when he sees Valenti, and he's like, oh, I get to fucking kill you too, And then this sort of like searching need to find Liz with Max, trying to like figure those little moments out. But yeah, it definitely felt very Bruce Lee to me.
Yeah. I could see that. And by the way, speaking of Valenti and Bill, the close-ups on his face,
oh, he's
fucking
yeah.
gorgeous.
No, he's got those blue peepers. Yeah,
Such
it's like
a
Paul
great-
Newman
those
and Bill
blue
Sadler,
eyes,
right?
Holy shit!
Mhm.
And this is still John Bartley,
Yeah.
who's lighting this. And I love Rodney and I love Jamie, but John was a real one of a kind. And watching this, because we had just done some episode 2 rewatches and all that stuff, but rewatching this first season, every time we get into the first season, I'm just like, oh, this is like a John Bartley
There's a reason
signature.
they took so long to set those up, right?
Absolutely.
It's so funny too, because that sort of shaped the kind of behavior I want on set, the pace. I hate now that things are lit quickly. I want to go on my trailer, have a nap,
Have a chai latte.
read a book. That is such an indication of not having children. It's just being fine that you're waiting around all day for things to be lit.
The way that they shoot nowadays, everything is faster. They'll put like 5 cameras on one side and shoot your medium, your close up. They'll shoot it all now, which that is kind of nice, because if you're on your game and you show up and you do the work, you know it's done. You got the scene. But something that I really loved about Patrick Norris, because let's just talk about him for a second. What a mensch that guy is. Yeah,
Talk about him for
I
minutes and
mean,
hours.
one of our
Yeah.
favorites, right? One of the gifts that he gave us was that not only was he an artist who would want to try to design a certain scene, it would take the time when allowed to design a certain scene, and then we'd be rehearsing it as we're trying to figure all the lighting setup, the camera movement, and then it just made it much more interesting. And he was able to put his brushstrokes on it, but it took some time to get there. The other thing that he would do is he would shoot two cameras at once. Do you remember that with him? Where it was like if you and me, Brendan, were having a scene and we're talking, he would shoot you and me, or me and whoever it was. They would shoot two cameras, both of our close-ups at the same time, and it felt very alive. It kept you honest because you had to like show up and have your homework done, know what you wanted to accomplish. You were acting in real time with your dancing partner there, and it made the scenes very alive. And it also you couldn't just show up and be like, oh, I'll figure out my stuff on the other side. I'll
I'll do my
yeah.
off-camera stuff and learn my lines and do all that. But what's funny with Norris, and he's kind of hard to pin down, is he wanted to shoot fast and he wanted to shoot efficiently. He wanted to make it an 8-10 hour day, but he wasn't allowed to for various reasons. But he had that efficiency about him, which I think we all loved, because we all wanted to get home and do whatever we wanted to do because we worked such long hours. But at the same time, he was always willing to go like blow out another wall, do this. Let's take our time for this. Like he didn't want to rush through anything. He just wanted to be efficient. And it was that fine line of a guy, he was probably the most efficient. So you can mistake the word fastest for that director that we had on the show.
Right.
But we had all the time in the world to do what we needed to do with him. You were never rushed and you never felt like you needed to get it done. Even if someone else came on set and was just like looking at their watch, he was just like, fuck that, man. He was like, we got it. We're good. You know, like, and you just trusted him and like he had your back and you just kind of, it's a real, which I think makes him one of our favorites is, you know, being efficient, but giving people the time and the space and the right direction. Because he was really good at it. Like he cared about it. He wasn't there.
He wasn't there to punch a clock or to collect a paycheck. He really wanted to do something different.
Yeah, he wasn't a TV for, you know, he wasn't a director for hire per se. Like he loved the stuff he did.
I love it. So. Do you also remember with him more than anybody? He would be shooting a scene, and if it was in close quarters, he would say, "All right, back to one." So you would do like 5 takes, and he wouldn't quit unless one of us yelled "Uncle" or you'd hear the film run out. Like he would just keep on shooting and keep on shooting. Again, it kept it very, very alive, very like.
Yeah. He didn't cut. He was the first guy where I was like, oh, you don't have to cut to reset. He'd just be like, reset, go back. Yeah. Like you said, back to one. And all of a sudden you're just like, wait, what's going on? And he's like, because as soon as you cut, you're going to want, there's a relight. The sound guy's going to want to adjust your lav. You know, or whatever else. There's, you know, makeup's going to want to come in and do this. And all of a sudden the momentum's lost. And so he was really good about like no. And so that was a lot of fun. We did that a lot on Baron and Toluca as well. That was one of the first times where I went,
what a gift.
Oh, okay. Like we don't have to, let's not kill this momentum.
And now it's so much easier, I think, because of digital, right? Because did you guys shoot B&T on digital? Yeah.
Oh yeah, film.
I haven't called worse, but yeah.
Yeah, doing that on film. These nuts.
In fact, I've got a tiny.
No, but yeah, doing that on film is crazy because film costs money.
Yeah.
Like every frame is is something.
All right, so
there's a hair in the gate.
The hair in the gate.
I mean,
Yeah.
There's a hair
Yeah.
in the gate. No worse feeling. Darn it. No.
Yeah, you literally had to wait around
To check the gate.
to check the gate, and no one knows what that is. And I just remember, it didn't happen too often. It was pretty clean, but I remember like hair on the gate when
The
you thought you got
worst.
it.
Like,
And you're
oh,
like,
come on. Yeah.
oh, we were already moved on.
Emotionally,
to the next
I'm already
scene.
on stage 5.
Our brain is processing. Emotionally, you're moving stages 100%.
It's so funny, too, because I think people don't realize how loosey-goosey things were back then. It just was such a different set life.
No, but it wasn't
period.
loosey-goosey.
No, in the sense that, like, it was just like a closed set was simply a suggestion. Like it wasn't the way things are sort of locked down right now. And yeah, there was just a lack of formality. That the irony is that was such a comfortable set. Like now people make things so creepy when they're like, do I have your consent to check your lav? And I'm like,
it is. That's like, it feels like a bad pickup.
That's Brendan's Friday night move.
Just that.
Like
she's
like, I don't have a
concept
lab. And I was like, but let me,
intimacy
do I have
coordinator?
consent to check?
Yeah, exactly. Do I have consent to pretend you have a lab? Yeah, it was such a different, I don't know.
But
I found it to be very chill.
It was also back in the day, though, where like actors got their blocking rehearsal.
Mm-hmm.
And then once we blocked it out, camera got their rehearsal. And then camera did their rehearsal. And then sound got their rehearsal. Like sound got a rehearsal for...
Oh, God, yeah.
Remember Kenny?
Loved Kenny.
Do you remember his porn story?
Oh, yeah.
Are you going to tell it?
The humping.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's so good.
Yeah, we'll totally tell it. Majandra will tell it.
I don't remember. Was he the one in the
porn?
porn?
He was recording porn.
No, he wasn't in the porn.
I was like, no, but he wasn't recording it, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that was... Okay, I thought he was talking about a
I'm
friend
just asking
that
for a
did
friend.
sound on a porn.
I thought he was.
Well, let's just say it was his friend. His friend. You tell the story. I don't want to get canceled. I don't want to cancel Kenny.
Well, I'm not going to cancel Kenny.
Reference.
But Kenny would be there with the boom. He's got the boom. And this is the great thing. Kenny knew everyone's lines. So when Kenny was doing the boom, he would go like,
"Yep,
Michael, this is this." And he would mouth the lines as he was going back to all the people because he memorized the dialogue and where the boom needed to be. And he had done some porn earlier in his career where he was a sound guy. And what he would do is, because he memorized the script, right, in terms of who needed to be where, and he would literally be like,
start humping.
He would just start humping.
You just see a boom start like slowly coming to frame like that.
Yeah, the boom's going like this, just coming in and poking into the frame.
But I mean, he was such a professional that he would memorize the lines, and from what I remember, he would sit there and he would like hump along with them because he's just, but aside from whatever, all that stuff, he would immerse himself in the scene to what are the actors doing, where they're at. It's like a cameraman, you know what I mean? Where what actor is talking at what time, but a cameraman is a part of the entire scene because they read moments and this and that. I learned that from Jamie Barber. Like he felt and like lived with the actors. He was trying to frame it, but at the same time he was listening and trying to figure out how slow, fast people were talking. When was the pan off?
Yeah.
When was this? How are they going to sit? And like you breathe, that camera kind of breathes with the scene. So I learned so much on that from all those guys because I would just.
Kenny was telling a story about how his friend didn't have underwear for a trip, and he goes, so he just had to turn them inside out with the bacon strips on the outside. That has stayed with me forever. I was like, what, Kenny? And
I've
and then
never
and then I made him repeat it, and I was like, "That is fucking brilliant! Thank you
You
for
canceled
giving me
Kenny, you
this
bastard!
knowledge."
I
It was
have
so great, and because he had that
I've
cute voice too. He's like, "The bacon strips on the outside," and it took me a full minute to process and understand, and then I
oh,
just was like, "Sir,
I love you.
yes,
that is
yes."
I've never heard them referred
Isn't
to as
that
that.
great?
Brilliant. I can't believe you've withheld that from me all these
So,
years.
so do you guys actually remember doing this episode?
Oh.
I'm just curious about that.
He's going back. He's like, you guys have not answered the question I
Evasive
asked
bacon strips.
20 minutes ago.
Yeah, I don't. And there was no diary
That's what I was going to ask
entry
you.
on
Okay,
this
so let me ask you
episode.
this. So, y-
I remember, so
Can
I'll
we
quickly
just
say this. I
ask?
remember the Katie. He asked the question. I'm trying
No,
to
I
answer.
know, but he was going to ask. Okay.
Oh, he's got to fuck it. He'll remember. He remembers from 25 years ago. He'll remember what he's going to say. I do remember the pregnancy stuff with Katie. I remember having those scenes.
No, I'll bet.
Ooh, I just found an entry here.
I don't remember it being that like serious in terms of like of course Michael's going to step up to the plate and he's going to get her, but I don't remember it being quite to that dramatic of a kind of play out.
In which scene?
I think just all of them with Katie in terms of like when I say I'll be there for her,
Right.
Like this is my baby, like Majandra coming in with her cute little haircut that she's grown out.
I did have a note here that said Maria needs someone who is tender with her, even when growing out a bad haircut.
You guys talk about hair a lot in this podcast.
No.
Well, we're very
That's
surface.
what the show was
and
about.
that was something that
you should know this after 25
That
years.
is something that I took note of. I thought, Majandra, your hair was on point in this. I really enjoyed it. I liked it. I did.
You did? Oh, I felt so bad.
It's a great haircut for growing it out. Like it's the best you could have done. And it's not even a bad haircut, but because I know it's
a mention.
It really deserves. It's the MVP of the episode.
No problem.
Sorry,
Just you
Jay,
wait.
you come in second.
There's an episode where I don't know what episode it is, but she has that same hair, and there's a shot of Maria running away, so you see the hair in the back, and it does this like flap while she runs, and it's just sexy.
Now, why do you?
I'm just curious as far as
this?
because is the last time you guys watched it also 25 years ago when it first aired? Well, what happened with me as I was watching it is I certainly a lot of the memories of what had happened while filming it, came flooding back, and it started with going from like when we all ran up it opens up really intense. We're all like talking about, oh my God, she's one of us. How do you know? And then like Max kind of looks off like this way, like that knowing thing, and then you guys all run up the rocks, and there was a weird sort of like pace to us running up that hill.
I did not.
And the reason why is because you and I just smoked Katie up the hill because we were in tennis shoes, and they always put Katie in these high-heeled, no traction, they look good. Yeah, you had Docs, I had Converse, and so if you go back and watch that, you and I are just not really running very fast, and you actually there's a few times where you put your hand on the back of Katie to make sure that she didn't slip off the mountain.
I remember that being a thing in general, just having to scale rocks and high-heeled boots, all of us, a lot.
Yeah, and then we had those, So, when I watched it, obviously, it takes me back to Aqua Dolce and, Vasquez Rocks and all that stuff. But I don't remember, now that you mention it, I do remember that, we got to slow down. You got to do a movie run. The rock sliding, I was like, could you give it a little bit of a against the rocks, but I was like, it's not on rails, or is it? Maybe it is. And then, I didn't even remember I was like, what are the 4 pods in the summer of 47? What are those 4
Yeah, the
pods?
dupes,
And
yeah.
people are like, the dupes, you
I
idiot.
know.
And I was like,
Sometimes when I'm listening to your
Ooh.
podcast, sometimes I'm listening to it.
I turned it off.
Well, I feel like,
He's like, I
I
decide not
find
to
myself
listen to it.
doing one of two things. The first one is laughing my ass
Correcting
off,
us.
like in the middle of a park with my dog, or I'll be like
Aw,
out on a
thanks,
run and
Jason.
then like falling into traffic because I'm laughing. Or I'm just like, God,
Or just
I'm like,
shaking his
or I'll
head
shout out
at
the
how
answers.
dumb
You're
we
like,
are.
where was that cave? Like in Riverdog. I was like, it's
Right.
the Bronson Cave. It's the Bat Cave. I'm like, just call me. I'll tell you.
I love it.
But I knew it was the Bat Cave. I
Yeah.
didn't know it was Bronson. So
Okay.
I got another question. Were you guys ever in the
Just
same?
one
You guys were
time
never in the same
the
scene
House
together.
of Mirrors, and I was trying to figure out. I was
House
like,
of
it was
Mirrors,
not Chris
yeah.
Daniels who was my stunty. I think that was my stand-in. So it was like, yeah.
Interesting.
So they were like over the shoulder.
Yeah, but it was just
Yeah.
the back of his head, though, wasn't it?
Never
Yeah,
face to face.
yeah. You guys were
Nope.
never faced. There was never
Over
a
shoulder, over
face-to-face
shoulder.
Max Naceto Max moment. Yeah, over shoulder. That would
Super
have
dope.
been.
Yeah.
That would have been fun. I think that's a
Yeah.
missed opportunity.
I don't think the
looking
technology
back, and
existed or that we could afford it at that time.
That would have been
Quite
Yeah.
honestly.
Yeah. That was not in the budget.
right.
Not in the
It had
budget.
to have.
What I do
But that
remember
would have
about
been fun.
that House of Mirrors as well was that. Do you remember Steve Perry from Journey, the singer? Yeah. So
Yeah, Journey.
would always
Yeah,
invite him to
Patrick
set, and
Norris
so
always
like
invited him to set.
after I smashed my face, it was like me and Steve and his lady friend just like hanging out talking, and I was like sitting there going, "Holy shit, dude, that voice!" I was having this sort of bizarre, sort of surreal, out of body moment, thinking like, I went to a lot of dances with you singing for me.
Yeah. It'd be great too if you find out that he was never there. This was just a result of
Well,
getting
speaking
your head.
of, this is also a funny thing because a lot of the fans say like, "Oh, the whole thing." Because when Tess came into the picture, we were all kind of surprised, right? And then
Right.
when it
Yes.
went down this road of like, "Oh, you're gonna take Liz and Max and build them up to be this sort of this love story, and then you're gonna just completely break them apart and bring Tess in." It was a hard pivot, right? And all the fans always come up to me and say, it's just a mind warp, right? She fucked the whole thing up. She like mind warped you the whole time. And I understand why they would want that. But when I was watching, when I went back and watched the Foursquare very quickly, just like the last 10 minutes of it, when you see Tess and Max together, it is completely. They do the over on onto me from her, and it's green background, and then they go back to her, and it's Vasquez Rocks. And I thought, I understand why that theory might take hold if she did actually.
Interesting. Yeah. Now this is
interesting.
a lot. We try to get people to weigh in on who was right or wrong based on damning journal entries. But since we don't have one for this, I would like to know. Jason, you can dispel this this discussion.
Look at these
Or
cheekbones.
you can confirm when Max touched Liz,
Oh,
she
shit.
and she had just come back from
Oh,
Florida
and she
with
had
her
the
aunt.
flashes. Yeah.
And he was like, "Hey," and she had the flashes. Brendan is of the opinion that that was sexual manipulation, that he like zapped her with a thing of like, remember? And I said, no, that's just what
Yeah.
happens when they touch. And he's not it's not something he's trying to slip in there. No pun intended. And
my take was when I rewatched it was you wanted her back and you felt there was a distance there and you felt there was gone. And knowing teenagers and everything else, like the notes I wrote, girlfriends I was trying to get back and like
who
do I have to kill?
can you
yeah,
that it was a touch to
and all
remind
that
her.
stuff. I thought, when you're outside Whitaker's office and you break away from the conversation with Katie and you go and you're like, yeah, we'll talk about it later while our lives are on the line because you want to
He was
go
very
to
upset
your,
about that.
you want to go to Liz. And then you touch her at the end of it, and she's kind of pushing you off, and you touch her at the end of it, and she gets these flashes, and I was just like, that's having fun, but I was like, that's sexual, that's sexual assault, brother. Like you can't
cancel Kenny, we're gonna cancel
consent.
Max.
Speaking of consent. No, but I was like, was that, Majandra was like, no, that's just what happens. But I was like, my whole take was, you did that for fun. I was like, you did that like you gave her the memories to give her back, because that's what I would have done. Fuck you.
This is revealing everyone's experience.
I honestly,
in life.
yeah, I understand why you'd say that, Bren. I feel like, because the line right after that is, he goes, what? Like he says, she has all the flashes, right? And the line right after is that he goes, what? And he says it in such a very sincere way. I feel like it was more of what Mahandra's talking about, where it must have been like, that's their connection. Because I don't know if Max was that manipulative, even though I understand why you'd say that, why you might go, hey, you know what? This is what you're missing.
Not everyone is.
I mean, obviously, I don't think it was.
Not everyone is sexually manipulative, Brendan. Just silence.
If I was really that sexually manipulative, I would have brought her back to the art studio and showed her what I could do with the thing of clay. And be like, you see what I can do with this?
Yeah.
Imagine.
That's where you would have brought Steve Heitner back and showed him what you could do with the thing of clay.
Oh my God, Max.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
God, talk about high energy.
Totally.
So this was my question really quickly. So I know that you guys do read from the journal a little bit here and there, which I kind of would like to hear more of. Like the journal entries seem to be pretty short and truncated, and I'd love to hear more of that kind of stuff. But I'm curious. I'm curious.
Well,
so have you guys discussed, or have you guys revealed when you guys actually got together on the show yet?
I think so, right?
Yeah, I think it was, her coming to my trailer, practicing the kiss. And I think that set something off in both of us.
Oh, my Brendan. Ew.
You went to Katie's trailer.
I know, it's true. I was like, oh my God. My goodness. To both her and Nancy, I was like, so I go to the room, right? And I'm like, and I remember Nancy just being like, oh.
Do tell.
I was like, I felt something very strange.
Yeah.
Like,
she puts it down and like.
And I think 285 South was a big.
Oh yeah, because we hung out.
Yeah, because we were forced to kind of we were hanging out more.
Just so
when they put us together, it is that.
Perfect.
What does Diane Farr call it?
This is perfect. Dungeon Love.
Dungeon Love.
He tries to say that there was something already, because we were hanging out on 285 South. Something already like brewing for me, and then that's why I went to the trailer to try to make sure I could control how he was going to treat me on camera.
I have let go of that.
You have no, but meaning you are revealing yourself to just think everyone is sexually manipulative, and it might be you.
So wait,
but
let's get Nostradamus here. Nostradamus tells the future, but you tell the past. So let's get old Pastradamus here. To when do you think? What is your take on that Jason. Whole thing?
Like what were you picking up on with these?
When did you think it happened?
I understand. she's like she's
very accurate. Yeah,
I know. I was like,
she's like
just this tiny little stranger.
I do remember feeling on 285 South that there was something happening. I could feel like that.
Really?
Obviously, your characters were doing a certain thing, and obviously you're going down that way. But yeah, you could feel something. But I was never really quite sure, because sometimes you guys would show up on set and be like super like happy and super like kind of like press, or there'd be a little touch here and there. And sometimes you would not. Sometimes you guys would be just like, fuck this shit. Like it was like as soon as they cut, you just go your separate ways. So I wasn't really quite sure. And then plus, like,
right.
your own sort of like emotional state was either really, really happy sometimes, or sometimes you could tell when you were in a conflict. So I wasn't really quite sure
Right.
when you
Yeah.
actually
I would,
got
yeah.
together. But you could definitely
Right.
feel when you guys were not having a good time, and then when you were.
We just
Toxic assholes.
fucking toxic fog over the entire crew and everything else.
Oh, that makes me happy though that you just were there to. It's just when you're in it yourself, you have no idea whether.
Well, it's also
this
like
is
when
actually
you
happening
are
or not.
when you're in that kind of relationship where you are feeling all these feelings, like that is
An
a
abusive
sexually
one.
manipulative one. It can be. It's very volcanic.
She was underage too, by the way. She was totally underage.
He groomed me.
Just so everyone
He
knows.
groomed me.
Thanks. All right.
You keep saying
Let's
that
just
on this
cover all the
podcast,
bases.
Brad. There's going to be a
lay it all out on the line.
knock on the door, like child services. What's the statute of limitations on this? But yeah, like I can only imagine, like, you know, like when you guys were getting together, like what kind of a really high stakes, sort of like a lot of volcanic emotion, both good and when things get difficult, you know?
I am curious, like, because it's going to be different for you than it is for, you know, Kenny the sound guy, Jamie the, you know, makeup, hair, whatever else. Everyone's going to have a different, you know, than a PA getting you out of your trailer,
Right.
Than craft services, right? You're going to have different interactions. But for you specifically, how, like, disruptive, bad, good was it? Like when we weren't getting along, like what did that do? Because I still think that, like, I don't think we took it out on anyone else.
Yeah, no, it was never you
other.
took it out on anybody else. It was just more about like you could tell that there was when it was good, you could tell you guys were getting along and things were great. And when there was conflict, you could tell there was the energy between you guys was definitely a little more frazzled. But no, you never took it out on anybody else.
Right, okay. Yeah, I mean, it's going to affect the environment, but, you know, we probably, like, you know, if we were all in a scene together, I was like, oh, this fucking Jane, you don't even know what happened. I mean, I'm sure we had a billion, and she would go to Shiri and do whatever else.
Yeah,
and
there was definitely times like that.
It's funny, too, because the journal's really tricky, Jason, because one, I only take to it when something good or something, you know, something extreme kind of has to happen. And it's just, and obviously we'll cut this. It's like very inappropriate. Okay. You know what I mean? Like I'm so dumb with the sort of.
And by the way, Jay, I've never.
Lies.
She refuses to read any of the, I get none of the. I've got nothing that the audience hasn't gotten.
Of course, I'm not going to read that to you now.
I mean, that would not be.
Can you imagine?
Good.
When you watch this thing, it has been 25 years for you as well. What did you think about it?
I'm blown away with how good it was.
Yeah, I was like, oh yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, you know what? This was fucking great. That's how I feel.
I will say for me the second half, which it should be, right? Because it should be on the upward trajectory. The last half was much better than the first. Like the first, I was like,
yeah,
okay.
Yeah, because you don't like the relationship stuff.
You know, we're in the 20th episode of the first season. Like I was and then it really took off, and I was like, oh, this is. Dude, if I'm whatever nights we were on, we did a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I think we were Wednesdays, but I think we switched. We were Mondays for a while. I think on
it was
UPN,
Wednesday. I think at first
versa.
on the WB for the entire first season, and I think we should have switched it up. Second season,
yeah. But I was just like, oh, this is fucking rocking. Like on the last, like after those commercial breaks, which you know where the commercial breaks are coming in, and I was like, this is. Okay, we're winding down to the end of the season. This is going to get people to watch. Like we're doing something really fun.
I really enjoyed it. And
I liked it a lot.
For me, you know, in the doing of it, it was really rewarding for me as an actor to be able to kind of like explore these different things and to portray them in a very subtle way. Go ahead, Brad.
No, I don't want to
it
interrupt
was
you.
it was interesting for me to and fun
But
for
I will
me
doing this every time.
to portray
Sexually manipulative.
uh,
Sexual manipulation happening in real time.
um,
I love that.
I got you both on a fucking hook.
My dick hook. We're like,
so in the doing of
I
it,
don't wanna
it was really fun for me because it was that subtle differences of playing off a different version of you, not a different version of yourself, but like Naseto's version of Max, like what he thought Max would do, and then just him having so much fun fucking with Liz,
Yeah.
and then it was just fun for me as an actor. But then to go back and watch it and go, oh, and I get what you're saying about the beginning of it, because again, like the last few episodes are all kind of like, running into the next one. You can't have that high fever pitch for the entire time because there's nowhere to go. So yeah, and then plus there's a lot of there's that walk and talk with me and Emily when I'm going there to her to get information, not just for myself but for Isabel to find out, is this a real possibility? Like, can someone get pregnant from a wet dream?
Right.
Yeah.
Get pregnant in a dream.
A wet dream, yeah.
I'd have 12
wet dream.
But it's like, so it wasn't just the regular sort of exposition highway where you're just like espousing information to remind the audience of what happened. I'm actually trying to get information from her and trying to relate with her, and also being, trying to resistant from it because I'm having this pull towards her. So I thought that was interesting. But yeah, once Naceto Max enters the building, I thought it really did take off in that way, because then, like that scene when we all come out of the crash down, I thought everybody was on point. So Liz is with Naceto, and we all come out of the crash down, and we're like, "What the fuck are we gonna do?" I thought everybody was so on point because the tension is high, but I felt like I was watching kids actually try to figure out what the fuck to do, and it felt very real to everybody in that moment.
right.
And it just took off from there. And I love what Patrick did with the carnival felt very reminiscent to the Crashdown Festival. Like even when Valenti it was a throwback to the pilot.
It was a throwback
and
to the pilot.
To watch
it
Valenti
really
chasing Naceto Max and the way that he's watching him, and again, like we had seen what Bill does with that character is amazing. But we had seen a few episodes leading up to this, him start to like open up and go, God, like maybe I'm dealing with this all wrong. And he went to Max and was like, I can help you. Just if you trust in me, I can help you in this. And for us as the characters, we're like, well, I don't know what you mean by help us. Like, I'm not going to fucking come clean on this. But it opened up the door for us to have that conversation coming out of the crash down going, we might have to go to this guy because we have no other fucking options. But to watch Bill see
Right.
Max in that moment, it's just that I see so much empathy on his face. He's such a fucking talented actor, and we're so lucky to have him. And I love my scenes with him. But like he put another layer on it in that moment, just watching him go through the carnival door.
Well, he's probably, it's the legacy of his father.
Yeah.
Too, right? Like as the character.
I can't go down that road.
Going like, there's redemption here. I can make this make sense for me and for everyone else and for everyone who doubted. Yeah, it's big stuff for him, even though he's not the primary character.
Yeah.
If you're kind of breaking it down, it's a massive scene for him, even though it's not his scene.
I wrote here Maria as the trump card to Sheriff. I love that I didn't remember his name. I'm like, that Sheriff.
The guy with the hat and the pew pew.
Maria as the trump card. Yeah, the guy in the denim.
He's got the stars. He's got badges and stars.
He's got all the, what do they call that at TGI Fridays? Anyway, Maria is the trump card.
Swag.
Yeah. Maria is the trump card to Jim. When she goes, I wouldn't be here if I wasn't scared. And then I wrote, I guess she's not the hysterical drama girl after all. I thought that was so interesting that it's like, oh, if Maria says it's serious, we take that.
I always thought that was like a callback to
also, right on.
Monsters. Like when you went into his office then.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Totally.
Because you do step up, like you stepped up even in, like you
She
step
tends
up in a
to
number of
step up.
episodes.
Yeah, which I
you
don't
know.
remember. Then what I love is my next note says, Michael dragging Tess to the car. Boss me around, Daddy. I love it. That's the effect it had on me. Not
This is,
what an abusive. I was like, ooh.
This is how we review. It's no Siskel and Ebert.
2 fingers up.
But
2 fingers up.
This is what I went like this,
Way
Jay.
up. Way up.
Yeah. We got
3
2 fingers in a pear tree.
Oh.
This is no, but this is why I did this, because when you were talking about Majandra's diary,
I thought you were going to say something else.
I specifically remember you having a notepad on Roswell. So you would write in that pretty extensively from what I remember. I've never seen a word of it. I've never seen the pages. I've seen
Why
like
do you
the
want to
book
see
open.
everyone's pages? This is the second time you've complained about not being privy to someone's diary entries. Go on.
It's not his diary.
Go on.
Listen, I've never had one, and I'm curious what people write in it and how it makes them feel better.
Diary, yeah.
No, but do you still have that? I would have. And then, was it specifically Roswell character related stuff, or was there extracurricular stuff in that in terms of, just like maybe dynamics on the set or whatever else? But you were, me and Majandra always say, you felt a little.
You felt
more
like the
responsible
most
than us. You felt like,
professional.
you did feel like,
a real actor.
Yeah, you were
Someone
taking
doing
it
the
like
work.
we all took it seriously. We all came to work and we knew our lines, and we knew our shit, and we could do our stuff. But there was a sense of, to me specifically, you had been doing this longer. You knew a little bit more. Not that you were taking it seriously, but you knew what to do. You knew work to do, and you were disciplined in it. And I remember that book, and I just want to know if you still have it, and if there's anything you can share about that. Like, just out of my own personal
It was mostly just
curiosity,
like a
to be honest
grocery
with you.
list and like what I got to do on the weekends. Because we didn't have a whole lot of time on the weekends. That was, so it does exist. I don't know where it is for the life of me. I have no idea where it is. It does exist somewhere out there. But what it was for me when I just wanted to have my own Bible of like what my character's journey was, and then where Max's place was in the overall story, but also where you guys were. And it was backstory before, it was potential possibilities going forward, it was how I related to you guys. I had a Bible as far as like the powers and stuff like that, like what was our powers, because it was really important for me. In the pilot, he says to her, Liz, you have to look at me. You have to look at me, like for him to be able to heal her. And that kind of set things off of, you have to have physical contact to make this work. And not just the physical contact, but you have to connect in other ways as well. And everything was close proximity. So we didn't have like ultimate power. We could just like blast stuff in the early days. We couldn't just like blast from afar. We had to like get up close. It was like, you can't bring like a cannon to a knife fight. You got to get really close if you're gonna do anything, either damaging or healing. So it made it more of a danger to us to be that close to somebody, especially if it's dangerous. And then I remember we were doing the episode sexual healing, where where like Max and Liz are like exploring like to find the way home kind of thing. And David Seven was directing that episode. And we went over to Michael's apartment to like use the space to like research, And as you and Katie were leaving, Katie turned and you're like, have fun. And Katie turned and just went like that. And she did this thing and lit all the candles in the room. And it wasn't on a page like that. And I remember going, oh, David, just really quick, I don't think she can do that. I don't think she can like just snap her fingers and like shoot her powers all the way across the room. And David was like, no, 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 it's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. It's gonna look really cool. And I remember going, yeah, it'll
Yeah.
look really cool, but I don't think we can do that. And that was the one time where I was like, can we call Jason just to make sure we can do that? Because it changes everything for us. And I wasn't like, hey, it's in my Bible, you can't do that. But I was like, but in my mind, I was thinking, if we are able to use our powers to that capacity, it becomes less about being intimate or putting ourselves in danger. I can stand, across the street and be like, bye, and blast you. And
Right.
so, yeah, that was the one
Right.
time when Jason came to set to have a conversation about like, how are we going to that? Because it changes our entire trajectory. Um, but yes, I felt a little self-conscious about it sometimes because Shiri would give me some shit about it sometimes, because I would refer to it a lot, and she would kind of like give me some ribbing about it and be like, "All right, De Niro, all right, Pacino," and I was like, I'm just trying to find my notes, you know.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
dude,
I
I
know.
thought it was the geekiest fucking thing. But no, but I also loved it too. Like it was the one time where I think, not the one time, I'm sure I've done it over and over again, but it was one of the few times that I can specifically answer for where looking back, I would make fun of it, but I also went, what is, but
Right.
what is he doing? Like, and why? And should I be,
Right.
I don't need to be, right? You dismiss that quickly. You dismiss the why quickly of
Right.
like, why should I be doing that or whatever else? But it was the one time where I didn't want to give you shit about it because
Hmm.
I had questions, but if I'd said anything about it, it would be more
Yeah.
like pokey than
Right.
actual curiousness, which if anyone's watching this, just be curious is the way better answer, because he doesn't have to share the pages. He doesn't, Jay never had to share the stuff. But there's a thing that he can explain it now, which he just did, of what he was doing and all that stuff. And then I could take it or leave
Right.
it, but I'm going to get something out of it instead of just going like, okay, Pacino, De Niro, whatever else, and then not understanding
Right.
where that person's coming from, because that's not the what an actor, especially human beings in general, but for our job
Be curious is
specifically,
a
it's
great
like,
thing.
be fucking curious. Even in the show, we talked about it in terms of what an acting class of we all had some kooky lines, and there was some kooky storylines and all this stuff. And the one thing I will say is, however good or job as we did as actors, given where we were in our experience, everything else, is we never,
Hmm.
we always laid into it. Like we tried to ground it
Yeah.
as much as possible.
Right.
And I think that's what sold, that's what helped the show go along, is you need to be actors on board with these things. And
Yeah.
we looked at them and went,
Yeah.
whew,
How am I going to sell this?
that's a line. Okay.
Yeah.
How am I going to sell this? And what we did is none of us actually went over we didn't go the other way with it. We always kind of I think we always underplayed it, which is a little bit of a acting lesson in itself, but with, authenticity and genuineness. And I remember going into, look at my, where my career is now. It's, we're all struggling, but, I'm struggling. But what I'm saying is, when I was there, I was like,
Yeah.
if I could pull off this fucking line, if I can pull this line off, you give me this line and I did this on national television,
Yeah.
give me anything else.
Yeah. I feel
I
like
got you.
that's part of the biggest reason why I think when I look at the show and I look at, um, what was asked of us, if you don't believe it, then why would the audience? Like, I think that we all grounded what we were saying in our own
Yeah.
selves and made it believable to ourselves. And that's the only reason that the audience could connect to it in that way, and that it has been so lasting. When I first read the script, I was in North Carolina doing Dawson's Creek. And I remember going, Roswell High? Like, what? Oh,
Oh,
I
this
know.
fucking WB boy.
Oh,
What was your
Jesus.
little marathon, little track
No,
show
that
with
was
them too?
my little marathon track show.
Little
What's that thing where you ran around a lot? Um, it was called
Oh,
Roswell.
jogging.
Have you seen
So
me
much
run?
jog.
I feel like it's like Tom Cruise.
Yeah,
I run it.
whatever, Tom Cruise. It was fucking fucking jockstrap season 1 for WB.
That was my Tom Cruise
Oh
impression.
my god,
Sorry.
that's good. That's scary that's in there. That's
No,
good,
but wait,
Jason.
but honestly, what was it called? Wait,
No, that
does
was
that
called
have
Push.
anything
That
to
was
do with
for
this?
it was ABC. Yeah.
ABC.
Oh, okay.
Right. I
Yeah.
remember that.
So no, I did the WB string was I did Buffy first, and then I did Seventh Heaven. Yeah,
Oh,
and
first.
Seventh Heaven. I did.
You did a
Barry.
Seventh Heaven?
Yeah, Barry.
So
Barry.
good.
I forget what his character's name was, but Barry. No, but I'm saying his character's name. I couldn't remember what it
Watson.
was. But
But
he paid me to take Jesse out on a date. And I remember like going into the audition, I'm like, so wait, you're paying me to take Jesse Biel out on a date? Like you have to pay me? I'm like, no, I'm fine. I'll take the
Yeah.
job, but I don't believe this for one fucking minute. Yeah.
dude,
Yeah.
I'll buy her drinks and dinner.
I'll take the money and pay her to go on a date with me.
But I was very grateful to have the job.
That's amazing.
So then I went Buffy, went Seventh Heaven, Dawson's Creek, and then Roswell.
And ironically, Roswell was
Yeah,
a
yeah,
WB show,
yeah.
so this wasn't some sort of WB shoe-in.
But
Just coinky.
But I remember when I read
Oh,
the script,
yeah,
though, I
and-
remember like
Mm.
going, first of all, can we change the title? Roswell High, maybe just call it Roswell. And I remember reading it and thinking, well, there's a lot of fucking potential here. It can but it could also go really, really off the rails and be bad. Like if we don't make this, if we don't ground it, and thankfully they hired all the right actors, and they had that kind of we were in great hands with David Nutter and with Kadams, that it did feel very grounded from jump. It felt very real, you know. And I think that's why it's been lasting.
Yes. The audition process it gave me such hope in the sense that what they were responding to and what they were getting excited about was like the real take on the scenes. And that was very reassuring.
Yeah, you get different things, I think, from different people. Like, I don't think Nutter
He's good.
He's been really fucking lucky.
I don't like him.
You know,
I don't like him. I think he fucking
Times in
lucked
a row.
out 20 times in a row with his pilots.
50,000
Don't
times.
respect the man.
Fucking
I
Red
think
Wedding.
he's
What is
just,
that? What is that really?
You know, who's his father?
Game of
There's
Thrones.
probably
his
some
father?
type of nepotism.
He's a
there.
nepo baby. Let's just be honest.
No.
Yeah.
No, Nutter was a guy who never gave me, I can't think of a single like direction or like something specific he ever said to me that stands out. But what he did give me was ultimate confidence to go in there and knew he had my back. Like he had this thing about him where I'm not going to remember a scene or a line or a direction, you know, that he gave me. But I immediately trusted the man and felt that I could do what he said. And if I did have a problem with it, could have a conversation with him and then discuss that. And then wherever it landed was going to be the best place. You learn these different things from, you know, different directors, but Nutter's really stands out to me as terms of, you know, looking back on all the directors I've learned, you know, pilots are something different. It was,
I felt like
it was just that trust of being able to
I
have those
feel like he got the best out of all of us. Like he really was able to, and we're all very different people, but he was able to get the best out of all of us in such a gentle way, not a manipulative way, just a very gentle, very straightforward. He had a real gift in that, and it shows in all of his work since and before. We were really lucky to have him. And I remember one of my favorite things about Dave Nutter is the fact that he says things twice all the time. How you guys doing? How you doing? Good. But he would like. I remember
Yeah.
when we did in the pilot when we were doing the scene where Liz and Max come together and he goes to the crash down and he shows her how he sees her, like they have that sort of connection.
Hmm.
There was David Nutter. It was so close on the two of us, and it was like over my shoulder to her, or over her shoulder to me. That he had. Remember how he had that little clamshell sort of like monitor thing?
I was just
Yes.
gonna
Yeah,
say,
yeah,
I was just gonna
yeah,
say,
yeah.
he's got his
So he would,
clamshell,
yeah,
and he
yeah.
did
He would always
this.
say that.
Yes, he would love to.
That's what we like that. Okay, the shot's this way, this way. Yep, yep. That's how he saw things. But then he was so
It's
like
so
for that
cute.
very scene though,
Yeah.
because it was so precise. He would lie on the floor with his clamshell, like belly down, and he would grab Shiri's ankle and just do this a little bit like that, just to get her to move on her mark just a little bit that way because she was blocking or she had to open up this way. While we were doing the scene.
Yeah. He used to do that all the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
It was so great. I actually like that. I wish everybody would move me around.
Yeah,
During my
I
scenes.
still, when I directed Baron, I got that from David because
This one?
it's funny when I'm looking at the
Yeah.
monitor or whatever else when I'm directing. I literally
Brendan, when
do
you
this.
do it, it looks like you're just not looking through anything. It looks like you're just
No, but what I'm
This
doing
is how I look through the
blocking out.
windows
I
of my
know,
name.
no, but I can see my eyes are
Oh,
here.
there they are. Oh, that's the cutest thing.
It's a
What
South Park.
look.
It's South Park Brendan.
But I
Very
am
Fraggle
looking,
Rock.
and then you,
Totally.
but I do. I remembered the pilot when he was doing that. I remember when we put Tabasco on the cake. And what was
That
it
you
the
put
pilot?
Tabasco on cake? No, that was later.
That was
That was later.
It was a bird.
not
Right?
the pilot.
It was
That
a
was
David
after
Nutter
285
thing, though.
South.
But I remember
Nutter
him
did-
always
yeah, go
doing
ahead.
this.
He only did 3
I
episodes,
just-
right? He did the pilot, the morning after, and Blood Brothers, right?
Yeah, but I would. But I
Right,
worked with
right.
him on disturbing behavior earlier, which is partly why I got the role. And I would just remember I would go on set on days I wasn't working, and just stand behind and hang out. And I probably looked like a fucking loser. But I did it because I was just interested in the whole thing and I wanted to be a part of it. And if I was going to do this thing, I wanted to do it. And I remember this, and I still do this to this day. I mean, it's a whole David Nutter thing, and it's a little bit like a
it's
tunnel vision thing,
neurologically, focusing you.
right? So it's focus, and so I literally stole it from him. I don't know if it helps me or not, but you know what it does though? When I was directing stuff, it's just a comfort.
Right.
Like even if I'm not uncomfortable, if you do this, and I just go like I'm in David Nutter's hands, and he's not there, and he's not doing anything, but I'm like, it's almost like he's looking down on you, and you go, well, that's fun. Okay, now I can do this. Like now I've
it's
calmed
like
myself
it's
and whatever else.
Your
and
Temple Grandin invention, the hug.
Temple Grandin,
created.
the little cow,
it's your
the little cow thing
Temple Grandin
to help her feel
created
comfortable.
this mechanism to calm cows because some people like to be sort of anyway.
Okay, well, I'm dumb. Don't, this is obscure shit.
I mean,
I don't
not
need
at
your
all.
I don't need your psychoanalysis.
No, this is me.
Yeah.
Don't psychoanalysis this.
Don't psychoanalysis my analysis of analyzation of
No, psychoanalyst, my grandma. That's the name of the sweeper. That's psychoanalyst, my grandma.
This is my granolith. This is my granolith. My granolith is my brain.
Oh man.
Oh man.
Oh my goodness.
Well, this was so wonderful,
Thank you
Jason.
guys for
Thank you
having me.
so much.
Anytime, you guys. This was so much fun.
This was
so much fun.
You're truly, yeah. I mean, looking back, I still remember one of the meals I remember. Shut the fuck up. Why you gotta give me something like that when I might be saying something nice?
What? Sorry. Sorry, you froze.
She knows exactly what she did. She's like, she did a little.
Oh, Lou.
No, I remember. Oh,
boy.
Lou. We all remember Lou.
Oh,
I
boy.
remember
Love
you.
him.
Your brother Aaron was there, and I think it was the first
Up
time
on-
at your
on
house,
Mulholland?
and you did.
I know this story.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah. What do you know, Mo? What do you think it is?
Is this the steak?
Oh, shit.
100%. It's the steak.
He's like, I got food poisoning from the fucking steak you made. Just here to rag on
I
you.
still got the fucking worm.
No.
I've had a hemorrhoid since. Go ahead.
Yeah. Gave me gonorrhea.
Yeah, we're like, how?
Blaming everything on the steak.
Yeah.
No, I remember you. I remember you preparing the steak. I think it was the first time I'd actually been at your house. We had hung outside. We had hung together outside of Roswell, like the show. And you were cooking a steak, and you did this thing with butter. Sounds dumb. But it was with butter. You had done this specific kind of steak.
Basting, probably. Sorry.
No, it wasn't basting. No, it was almost like a
Sous vide?
not a sous vide. What's the cordon bleu? It was almost like a cordon bleu steak of sorts. And I remember you prepping it, and it took a look. You were prepping it while we arrived, and you did all that, and you were just, I mean, you were friendly, but you were, doing the steak, and I remember watching doing the steak. I'm like, what the fuck is... Put S&P on it and put it on the fucking grill, dude. Let's do this. And it like took so long, and I was like, oh, this fucking guy and his fucking steak.
This fucking notebook. What's going on?
What a production. I mean, yeah, put some notes in your book, dude. Let's do this. And it was one of the most delicious steaks I have ever had. And I was like, oh, this fucking guy's on to something. I was like, okay, I'm all
this
in.
This fucking guy and his steaks. This gonorrhea steaks.
This fucking guy over here. This fucking guy.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I do.
Do you remember that?
I do, absolutely.
Do you have this, like, so what was the steak?
There was also blue cheese. Yeah, blue cheese on it. I've been grilling since I was a kid. Like back in Minnesota, we would go out there, like you know this, like we would go out there, it would be sub-zero, and we'd still go outside and grill. Like it didn't matter how cold it was. So 100%. I can't bake to save my life, but I can burn meat just right. I can do anything on a grill. But yeah, I remember really wanting to bring all of you guys over to kind of like connect in that way outside of the show. And steak was like my go-to at the time. But yeah, I totally remember that time. And yeah, I'm glad you liked it. I'm glad you didn't get gonorrhea. And well,
he did.
I'm not saying I didn't. I'm just not from the steak.
He had already gotten it earlier.
Anytime, you are always welcome. I got more where that came from.
All right. Well, I want that steak.
Anytime. Next time you come out.
Next time we're together.
But thank you guys so much for having me. This was so much fun. Any other time?
Thank you so much.
I love
Jason.
you guys so much.
We love you so much, dude.
I love it.
Dude, if you're in the family, you're in the family.
If you're going to correct us, please.
This has been so much fun, you guys. Thank you, really, truly. And I love hearing you guys podcast. I miss you guys. I love you.
We miss you, dude.
And just keep it coming and keep us laughing.
I will say, though,
Jason. Oh, boy,
can I say
he
this?
can't sign off. Brendan is incapable of signing off.
No, just take your hand away, Jay, and then lean in just a little bit. Doesn't he just look like he's
Floating.
like a head sticking out of a velvet cloth?
Yeah.
Oh, I see it right here.
Because he's all
like
in black.
Yeah, here it is.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like it's the glory hole of my dreams.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Right.
The glory hole of my
And on that
dreams.
note.
On that note,
I love you too.
All right, we love you, bud.
The X-Files with Majandra Delfino,
and Brendan Fehr is a production of Portholes Inc. Media.
edited and mixed by Stephen Wells.
The music by Fred Corey.